For many years I was afraid of heights. Today I'm perched on the edge of a cliff filming this, and I wanted to share how I've transformed some of the irrational fears in my life. Heights is a common one. Snakes and spiders, another. But this also can apply to those fears, for instance, in today's day and age, fear of nuclear war, fear of the end of the world, fear of getting cancer. These things that can kind of just eat at us slowly, but really we don't have that much control over. Arguably, with cancer, perhaps we have more control than we think, but there's people that do everything right health-wise, and still the cancer comes. So, with these things around us, spiders, snakes, heights, threat of world disaster, how can we live in a sense of peace and not be always having our energy taken up by this fear response? So in this world of heights and spiders and snakes and possibilities of world disasters, how can we live in a place where we're not always feeling in a fear reaction? Initially, to get over my fear of heights, I would try to sit at the edge of something steep like this, or I would climb a ladder and I would attempt to just sit there. And this can work for some people. You just expose yourself to whatever the stimulus is that you're trying to transform, and you sit there. And you're in a state of fear, and eventually your body learns that it doesn't need to be in that reaction mode. However, for some things, like that threat of world disaster, that doesn't work so well. We have that stimulus coming in, but it's here and there, and rarely can we sit with it long enough to become accustomed to it and no longer have a fear response from it. So it's very important to recognize what is happening when we have that irrational fear reaction. And you can feel this inside of you. As I sit here on the edge of the cliff, there's essentially two ways that I can be. The one is in a state of resistance. And I use that term broadly, but it means that I am pushing away from this experience. And as I sit here, I really don't want to be on this edge. It's making me nervous. There's a physiological reaction going on inside of me. My heart rate increases, my blood pressure spikes a little bit, and respiration increases. And I feel that anxiety or that fear that's associated with being right at the edge of the cliff. The other way is to surrender to the experience. And in an earlier video, I suggested imagining that you're here for the rest of your life. That works really, really well for me. To just settle into this experience and say, here I am, and feel myself relax into it. As I feel that physiological reaction come up, put a half smile onto my face, take a deep breath, and come back into just feeling this is the place where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. I might start to see that it's not such a bad place to be. In fact, it's beautiful. When I'm filled with fear, I can't see this. I can't experience this. When I surrender to it, I can be fully present with it. Oh, and it's incredible. Snakes and spiders. I realize that some of you live in areas of the world where there are highly venomous creatures. And that's not the case near me. But I also know that for a lot of us, we live in areas where there's not that much to fear from snakes or spiders. And still, we can be paralyzed. This keeps a lot of us out of the woods. We don't want to go out there because we're afraid we're going to get bitten or attacked by a snake or a spider. Settling into that experience. Here we can do it in our minds. This is an important bit, because as I lay down on the forest floor to take in the trees above me, I can be in that resistance place. Are there spiders here? Or I can surrender to it. And for me, I just imagine the spiders coming up and sinking their fangs into me and releasing their venom. And it goes into my system. It's fine. By surrendering to it, I can relax into this experience, and I no longer have to be in that fear reaction place. This brings us to the world disasters, because this is one that haunts a lot of people that I hear from. With the threat of nuclear war, if I know that that is a fear that eats at me, I can simply sit with my family at dinner and I can imagine the flash of light, and then everything's gone. Or I can imagine the very distant explosions, and then being there with my family as we're all going to die eventually anyway, as we all slowly die from radiation poisoning. But we're still there, we're still together. We still have that love and that connection. By surrendering to the thing, then I don't have to live in fear of it anymore. And those realities may or may not come. The spider may or may not bite you that night when you camp out. But worrying about it, living in fear of it, is not going to keep it away. And that is where we can transform this, by simply surrendering to those fears. And for me, it's given me the ability that I didn't have in my younger years, to sit on the edge of this cliff, to look down, to appreciate the vista, the feeling of the wind, the feel of this rock. It's an experience I couldn't have had in earlier years, because I would have been gripped by fear. If you have irrational fears, give this a try. And if you found other ways to transform some of those irrational fears that can grip us, share those in the comments below. I'd love to hear your insight and your wisdom. Thank you for watching. If you hit the like button, or you share this video with friends or family through your social media, that really helps me to know that you value these videos, you appreciate them, and they're doing something for your life. And it helps me in my mission to spread this sort of thing in the world. So any of that is greatly appreciated. I also have a Patreon page. There's a link at the end of this video. There's some people that choose to support me very directly in that way, and that is always greatly appreciated.